My people, yes, you need to use sunscreen too. I know they say black don't crack unless you're on it, but if you ain't rubbing in that sunscreen on a daily, you are increasing the risk of your skin resembling a sun-made raisin. Here are the reasons you should be using sunscreen and the biggest myths and misconceptions. According to the Skin Cancer Foundation, sunscreen reduces your overall UV exposure and lowers your risk of skin cancer and sun damage. In addition, it reduces the risk of sunburn, inflammation, helps prevent signs of aging, and skin discoloration. Now, I know Auntie, Uncle, Big Mama, and them told us we don't need all that and that black people don't get sunburn or skin cancer. Back then, they didn't know any better because information was not as accessible and accurate as it is now. Even medical professionals had inadequate training and studies on deeply melanated skin conditions. Research found some white medical students held false beliefs about black people's skin, like believing our skin was thicker and that nerve endings were less sensitive. Well, as the saying goes, when you know better, you do better. And if you didn't know, you're about to. Have you ever looked at a bottle of sunscreen and see SPF followed by a number? SPF stands for Sun Protection Factor and is a measure of how much solar energy, aka UV radiation, is required to produce sunburn on protected skin. I'll break it down. Say you use SPF 15 products. It would take 15 times longer for your skin to burn than if you used no sunscreen. The time of day, the season, and how often you go outside are a few of the things that'll influence how much sunscreen you'll need. However, research shows a SPF over 50 is unnecessary as SPF of 30 will block 97% of the sun's rays. So you're probably wondering what to purchase. There are a few options. Physical sunscreen, aka mineral sunscreen, creates a barrier on the skin that reflects UV rays. It's safest for the skin and environment. The con is you might look ashy after using it. It tends to leave white streaks on your body. Chemical sunscreen. These sunscreens have chemical ingredients that absorb the UV rays. It's thinner, spreads easier, and formulates better with other skincare ingredients. But it also absorbs into the skin and can reach the bloodstream. Also, there is some evidence that certain ingredients might affect hormonal function. As you can see, there are pros and cons for both types. Be sure to choose what works best for you, although being a little ashy sounds better right about now. Just saying. I am an avid user of Shea Butter and use it every day, head to toe. I have used it as a sunscreen alone by applying an ample amount, then going out. However, skincare professionals advise to use it as an aid because the SPF amount is not enough to provide adequate protection. Shea Butter can have a SPF between 3 to 10. Recent research has shown a SPF between 3 to 4. Either way, if you use Shea Butter, you should still use a sunscreen of at least SPF 30. Okay, so now that you know why you should use sunscreen and how it protects you, here are some myths and misconceptions. Black people or people with darker skin tones don't need to use sunscreen. Lies. It's all lies. Yes, we do. It's true, melanin does give us a bit of an advantage, but does not make us the exception. Black people cannot get skin cancer. Yes, we can. It is true, white people are diagnosed at a higher rate, but when black people are diagnosed, we tend to have a worse prognosis. According to a study in the National Library of Medicine, African Americans presented with deeper tumors, more advanced stage of disease, and higher rates of ulceration and lymph node positivity than Caucasians. Cancer-specific mortality was significantly higher, while 5-year cancer-specific survival was significantly lower among African Americans for nodular and acral lentiginous subtypes. In short, we get sicker and we are more likely to die. My makeup has sunscreen, so I'm good. I'm sorry to tell you, it's not enough. You will get sun protection, but sources say it's not as effective as traditional sunscreen. Make sure your moisturizer has SPF. That should increase protection. It's cloudy or cold, so I ain't gotta worry about that. Wrong. Up to 90% of the sun's rays can still penetrate your skin. UVB rays don't go away just because it's cold. UVB rays can harm your skin by burning it and damaging it year-round, and can be even more harmful at higher altitudes and when reflected off surfaces like ice or snow. Snow reflects up to 80% of the sun's UV light. That means it can hit you twice, increasing your risk of skin cancer and skin damage. My clothes are covering most of my body, so I don't need it. Somewhat. White and pastel colors provide the least protection. Dark and bright colors absorb the UV rays and are better choices when outside for extended periods of time. So, all in all, make sure it's labeled broad spectrum, or that the label says it protects against UVA and UVB rays. A minimum SPF 30 is recommended. Apply sunscreen every day if you're going outside. Reapply every 2 hours or right after sweating or swimming. Use it all over your body that's exposed to the sun, and all over if you're wearing white or pastel. Understand, all sunscreens are not created equal, and you may have some trials and errors. I know this seems like a lot because, let's face it, most of us are not about to be reapplying sunscreen every 2 hours, or better yet, use every day. Nevertheless, it is super important to add to your skincare regimen. Do your best to do so if you're participating in outdoor activities such as swimming, sports, theme parks, etc. Let's stay healthy and alive. Are you a daily user of sunscreen, or use it only when participating in outdoor activities? Let's talk about it down below in the comments. Don't forget to like and share this video. Also, be sure to subscribe for more. Talk with you later.